We've got some big news for you. Lee and I will be hosting an online poker tournament on 888 Poker on Sunday the 40th of August, and registration is open now.
It'll be a good laugh. 888 Poker has made the online poker playing experience come to life. So let's all have a bit of fun, play the game. Just click the link in the description of this video.
On 888 Poker, you can play a wide variety of poker, such as Texas Hold'em, Blast Jackpot Sit and Go, Snap Fast Fold Poker, and more. You can also play across multiple tables and tournaments at the same time.
And if you want to take your opponent out in style, you can hilariously throw objects like eggs, tomatoes, and wipe them out. It's great.
You'd be love to do that, wouldn't you?
I'd love to do that. I'd love to do that.
The tournament will start at 2 p.m. UK time on the 14th of August and is only open to players in the UK. You can use my promo code WELCOME40 to deposit £10 and get £40. Make sure you look out for us on the tables. My username is Robbie AFTV. What's your username, Lee?
Lee AFTV.
That's a bit obvious, isn't it? The tournament is free to join and will have a $150 guaranteed prize pool. And you need to be over 18 to sign up and play. And remember to play responsibly. Sign up by clicking the link in the description to join our exclusive Invincible tournament. And let's see who's the greatest poker player among us, with a chance to win a $150 prize.
We look forward to seeing you guys there.
Hi and welcome along to the Invincible podcast. We're back in the studio with my man Lee Judges. Listen,
it's not the same, is it?
It's not the same as America, but it's good to be back nevertheless. And I'll tell you what, that poker thing, I'm looking forward to smashing you in that.
Oh, listen,
you know what I mean? Yeah.
You got no chance because I'm having poker lessons as we speak. Booked up a batch of lessons. I ain't that
You
great.
would as well.
Oh, yeah, right, I know.
I wouldn't put it past you as well.
I know. Listen, I love a game of cards, all sorts of cards, but poker's not really my game because it's a long game, and it can be a long game.
I've thought into it. That's
yeah. So
it's not like Snap, is it?
That's harsh, isn't it? I said I'll give you a game of Snap, I'm having a few lessons, and I'll be chucking tomatoes, eggs, right.
You love that.
I love that. I love it.
By the way, you located a Kit Kat thief here.
I've got that old thief, I tell you Unbelievable. People keep coming up to me on the streets now with Kit Kats and things like that. It's unreal, you know what I mean?
I have to say, that was one of the funniest. If you haven't watched it yet, go and watch the vlog, right? Who stole my Kit Kat, right? Which was basically Lee. I even going to tell you about it, but you've got to watch that vlog. It's absolutely hilarious. And I have to say, we're just back, of course, from the tour of the US. Unfortunately, we didn't get to do Baltimore, which we heard was really good, but we was over there in Florida and it was amazing. Absolutely amazing trip. The team was amazing as well, the way they played, the way they presented themselves to the fans over there. And it was just such a great trip. And do you know what I wanted to do, Lee, actually? It's like, they do these things sometimes. 5 things we learned whilst, on that pre-season trip to Florida. I kind of wanted to focus on the 5 things we learned on that trip. And, because, it was a really, really refreshing trip on all fronts, whether you're talking about the players, the team, the fans. So I really want to focus on that. I mean, obviously, I know as well, we're going to talk a little bit later on as well about, we had another friendly over here, which we lost against Brentford.
Behind closed doors. Don't matter.
And of course, looking forward to the Emirates Cup, which is going to be taking place this weekend with Arsenal taking on Sevilla, which basically is effectively the last friendly game before the big one, which is next week Friday, when we take on Crystal Palace, which is a very, very tough opening game indeed. But 5 things we learned.
Do you know what? Wouldn't it be nice if it was like school, when to learn that, go to Florida and learn? Because I certainly learned a lot when I was over there.
You'd be out there every week.
I'll be out there every week. I'll tell you what, I would have got O-levels, A-levels, a lot. Like, you know what I mean? So, all
right, give me what's the first thing you learned? Give me one thing that you learned.
Well, I'm going to be really... Let's talk about him. Can we talk about Jesus? Should we talk about that?
We can talk about Jesus.
Let's talk about that, because I'm going to be really honest. Going into when we was going to be signing him, you know, I wasn't 100% sure that he was going to be, you know, I made a thing, you know, he didn't really set the world alight at Man City. He was good, but, you know, then there was the talk about Richarlison and him. And
who?
Yeah.
Who's Richarlison?
Yeah. But we did, you know what I mean? That's what I've learnt now. I've learnt that we got the right one.
Yeah,
and I mean that sincerely. I went to Nuremberg, Germany, see him for a half there, and he blew me. I know it's only a friendly and all that, but he excited me there. But seeing him on this American trip, and particularly the game against Chelsea, we've got a player. We've got a game changer of a player. That's what I've learned. A player that's going to change the way we play football, because he's not only got all the skills and the work rate and things like that, he's ruthless in front of goal, finishes.
Yeah.
And I think that's been a little bit of our downfall over the last couple of seasons, missing too many chances. Yeah. So what I've learned is that he's a game changer. I'm really excited about it. I know it's only friendlies and all that, but I'd rather be excited like watching those games and thinking like, I'm not too sure about him and whatever. Well, and I'll be honest, I went into it like that. I've come out at the back of this tour thinking, I can't wait to see him in the real deal. And I'll be honest with that.
Yeah, you know what, Lee? I'm sort of the same with you in that when we signed him, I was like, good signing. I always believed right from the beginning, I was like, 45 million, Gabriel Jesus, when you look around, saw what was available striker-wise, that's a good signing, right? So I was like, good signing. But I'm with you, like, after watching him in the flesh, I'm like, nah, this signing is going to be a lot better than we thought you know, because, and then I started to think about it a lot, and I think I spoke about it, I can't remember if it was on this show or another show, like, sometimes when you got a player that's at another club, but it's a great club with great players, and they're in and amongst loads of great players, and you don't really see that player really burst out. I mean, they still do well there.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
But it reminded me of Alexis Sanchez at Barcelona.
It was a great analogy you said about that. You said about it on here.
Yeah.
And it's a fantastic analogy because you're dead right. You know, you're dead right about that.
And then, like, he just looks to me now, that player, that now that Arsenal have said to him, Gabriel Jesus, you are our main guy. Man. You're the main man, right? I think he's going to thrive on that. Yeah. And when I saw how quick he was,
what?
How explosive he is, his work rate, his finishing, it reminds me of Alexis.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Alexis Sanchez. Like, I'm like, this guy could be just like Alexis. And I'm like you, I cannot wait to see him play in the Premier League. And I'm really, I mean, you know, like you said, you don't want to get carried away because they're friendly.
No.
But for me, just watching him play, it wouldn't have made no difference if he hadn't scored any goals.
No, it was more.
I just look on him and I say,
I agree.
Hey, this is a player, man, that I'm going to be really excited to see play. And also, I feel it's going to be a player that the fans are going to be really excited about when they see him play, because he's a baller.
Yeah, you know, obviously at this moment in time, a lot of fans have not seen him in the flesh. Probably like the hardcore fans probably don't go to friendlies as much. They probably won't go to the Emirates Cup. It's more of a family thing, isn't it? So they'll see him against Crystal Palace, but a lot of people get to see the chance of him on Saturday. And I'll tell you what, you're in for a treat. I'm going to say that now. It's because he's
electric.
He's dead right. It's not just about his goals. By the way, his finishing has been fantastic on this trip. But it's you know, if he doesn't score, he makes the goalkeeper work, which is what I like. He hits the target. But I'm agreeing with you on this. When you watch him at Man City, or he's been at Man City, because there's been so many players, you know, the De Bruyne's and the Mahrez's and the Grealish's. You're looking at them. You're looking at them. You aren't really looking at what he's doing and all that, like, you know. But now it's sort of like, he's the focus.
Yeah.
And you can see that he's took that on board. You can see that he's enjoying it. When have you ever seen Chelsea players in desperation tackles and getting injured?
Yeah.
To stop him. I've not seen that. Like,
friendly as well.
Friendly as well, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he was causing them all sorts of problems, not just with his touch and his movement as well, Robbie. Is really good. If you see it live, we was fortunate enough to see it. And very, very exciting player. Very, very exciting.
Yeah, and I just think to myself as well, Lee, right, is that obviously when he came into Man City as a very young player, came over as one of the big hopes of Brazilian football, one of the players that they were talking about, this is the next sort of young superstar player. He's come to England, he's had to adjust, he's had to do all that sort of stuff. And then, been in and around that great City team for all these years, but has always been a player that Guardiola's had a lot of faith in. But now I think what we've got is a 25-year-old Gabriel Jesus who's matured. You know what I mean? He's now, there's no settling in to be done or nothing like that.
Premier League experience.
Premier League experience. He's a winner. He's experienced winning a lot of things. And a guy that's going to be hungry to prove a point. And remember, a Brazilian player in a World Cup year, he wants to be in that World Cup squad, which is, obviously he's a part of the World Cup squad, but he wants to be like probably the main man in that as well. And this is his chance.
He's got the opportunity, hasn't he?
Yeah, to prove it. So...
Win-win all around for Arsenal.
Win-win all around. And I think, anybody going to the Emirates Cup or anybody who's going to be seeing him at Palace, you're going to see a player. I mean, listen, Premier League, we know is tough.
Yeah.
The defences are great. They make it difficult. But he's used to all that. He's not going into this for the first time. So this is a great signing.
Yeah, and one of the things, it's not always about results neither or goal. That I watched him against in Germany.
Yeah,
and I thought, I can't wait to see him in the next game, and then I can't wait. Then coming away from the game in America, I thought, I can't wait to the Emirates Cup to see him again. I haven't had a feeling like that from a new signing for a very, very long while.
Very true, very true.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm looking forward to see. And then once the Emirates Cup, I'm thinking, right, now I'm looking forward to seeing what you can do in the big game against Palace. But I'm looking forward to watching him. I really am. Big up.
Yeah, no, big up. So that's the first thing we learned, is that we've really signed a top player in Gabriel Jesus, and we're all excited to watch him. The second thing I say, I'll lead with this one, that we learned over on the US tour, right, and the pre-season, is that that saying, like a new signing, right? That applies to William Saliba. How good was he, Lee?
Oh, I'm going to say this now. He's a top player. And I tell you, do you know why I know he's a top player? I was fortunate to get one into boxing tonight, and my two mates from school. Yeah, my two mates from school.
Two mates from school, yeah. Was that private school you went to?
No, yeah, private. Yeah, they're big Spurs fans, massive Spurs fans, and sitting down with them afterwards, they said, first of all, about Jesus, and they said, I think you've got one there at the back. They was impressed by him, like, yeah, you know what I mean. And if neutrals, I'm not, and they're not really neutral, are they? It's probably painful for them to say it when they're saying it. When you've got a player there, I take note. Yeah, I take note, and I just like the way he defends. There's no panicking about him.
Yep.
And shackled that Chelsea front line quite comfortably, big, powerful. That's another thing. He's got the physique of a central.
Yeah, he's got the physique, man. He's like
physique like Sol Campbell, someone like big guy, athletic,
quick as well.
Quick across the path. Do you remember that one? The ball went across, and before anybody could get there, he was across, sweeping it up. And also, what was important as well, as it is a central defender these days, he can play as well. He's not one of these players that's rash. Once he's won the tackle, he looks to play as well. So
he looked, as I said, it's like a new signing. He's never played a first team Premier League game for Arsenal. He's never played a Premier League game for Arsenal. He's never played in the FA Cup for Arsenal. He never played in the League Cup for Arsenal. He's only ever played, up until the other day, he'd only ever played one friendly, which I'm sure that was behind closed doors as well, against Milton Keynes Dogs. right? So now we're seeing this guy for the first time and we're like, wow, he's gone away. It was very controversial what happened last season. A lot of us were moaning, right? And we were saying, why have we sent him out on loan? Again, this is his third season and he's going out on another loan. This is ridiculous. And Arteta at the time said, no, I feel he needs to go out. He needs to play consistently, play football. He's our player. Everybody stopped panicking. And he sent him out on loan. He went out on loan to Marseille. That followed up his previous loans where he went to Nice. And what was the other team? Saint Etienne, right? And he was brilliant. He was brilliant last season. He was voted the young player of the season in Ligue 1. And when you consider how many great young players they have over there in French football, that's, you got to take note of that, right? He's in the French national team.
Yeah, he's broke into that.
You think about some of the centre-backs that they've got in French football, right? To get into that French team, you got to go with Upamecano. They got the Konate, who's at Liverpool. They've got all these great centre-backs, right? And he's managed to get into that, right? He had a wonderful season. He's come in now, and I'm thinking, what sort of Saliba are we going to get? Are we going to get a sort of Saliba that's like... Because there were a lot of rumours, Marseille didn't want him to leave. The manager of Marseille left Marseille before the start of the season, right? And they had a great season.
Yeah, got into the Champions League.
Right? And he walked out because about signings and stuff like that. And one of the things he was angry about was that they let him come back to Saliba come back to Arsenal.
No choice, did they?
Right? He was like, we needed to keep him. And this guy, when I looked at him playing, it's a bit like what you said, Lee. He looks to me like a centre back. The only thing I haven't really seen him tested with yet is the aerial stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Because we didn't see a lot of that in America. So I'm yet to see what he's going to be like in the air, but he's a big guy. Yeah. He must be about 6'3", 6'4". He's, like you said, he's athletic. He's I heard somebody the other day saying if Van Dijk is a Rolls Royce, then he's a Bentley. He's on his way up. A long way to go to get to being a Van Dijk, but that's the levels that we'd hope he can get to. But certainly for a young player, he's 21. The way he's looked so far in pre-season, coming into that first game against Palace, he has to start for me.
Yeah, I think he will. I think he will, and I think you just made a great point there, and just made me think is that it's World Cup year. So from his point of view, when he come back, I'm sure that question would have been asked. Look, it's World Cup year. I've just got into the World Cup squad. Am I going to be playing here? Because if I'm not, I'm going to be losing my chance for the World Cup. So maybe another loan to would have been. But no, Mikel said, no, you're coming back this season. So I do see him starting a lot of games this season. Right?
Yeah. And a World Cup year, like you said, you've got to go some to get in that French team. As I said,
he's in there at the moment.
Upamecano, Koundé, all these guys, they've got some great, just even young centre-backs, let alone, Fofana, Lenglet, all these guys. They've got some awesome centre-backs, right? So... But I like the look of Saliba. I think that this guy could be... It is like a new signing because he's never actually played.
Yeah. And I think Ben White will start the season at right back. But the competition for them two is going to be good.
Yeah.
Because, Ben White...
Which is what we want.
Well, yeah, Ben White will be looking at himself and saying, well, hold on a minute. The World Cup is coming up for me as well. He's in the squad on the periphery of it.
That's true.
He needs to play well as well because otherwise he's going to miss out. So he needs to play well.
Yeah.
So it's a real interesting scenario there. And of course you've got Gabriel as well. We will be going with Brazil. So we've got 3 international central defenders there. And it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But you know what? In a good way. At long last.
It's fantastic.
We've gone years, Robbie. Years wanting one decent central defender.
Do you know what, right? I saw like somebody on Twitter yesterday, so they put a picture of Gabriel, Saliba and Ben White together, and then they had another picture, right? And that picture, right, was Socrates, David Luiz and Mustafi, That was the previous sort of selection of centre-backs. And when you look at that, you see progression there, you know?
100%, you know what I mean? Oh, we've been crying out for a decent central defender for a very, very long while. Credit to the powers that be that brought in Gabriel, because I think he's been fantastic for us for the last season and so. He's looked really, really good on that left side. Really, he's nailed down to play most games on the left side. Now we've brought in Saliba and Ben White. All of a sudden, there's good competition for us, and we've got a good base now to defend off of, and I think that's key to us going forward. I'm excited about Saliba, and I think, you know, he could well turn out to be one of my favourite players in the team, because I like the way he goes about his job. You know what I mean? He just does everything that you ask him to do. So I'm very, very pleased. Got to get him on a long-term contract. That's got to wrap that.
And all the talk is that they are going to get him on a long-term contract. But certainly he looks like a real proper player, and I think, you know, we learnt that we've got ourselves another great centre back, and that bodes well going forward, because you know we lost too many games last season. We've got to be better at the back, which also then brings me on to the third thing that we learned, right? Which is that our starting 11, when everybody's fit, is a good starting 11, Lee, right? So if I was just to run through it, right? And we saw, I think we sort of saw that in the Chelsea game, right?
We did. We see that on the Chelsea game. Yeah, that's the team I think will start against Palace.
Yeah, you got Ramsdale in goal.
Yeah,
right. Obviously, now right back, if Tomiyasu's fit, right? Let's just say he was fully fit.
Right.
You're
going to go Tomiyasu then?
I'm going off of if everybody's fully fit now, right? So right back would be Tomiyasu if everybody's fully fit, yeah?
Well, I'm going to be interested in this season.
Yeah? Now the two centre-backs.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Who would you go for?
Gabriel and Saliba, what I've seen so far.
We've seen so far, it would have to be Gabriel.
Ben White, I do like Ben White.
I like Ben White as well, and this is what...
Don't disrespect him.
It's not disrespect. This is what we want. We want to be like you know, if you're playing for Liverpool or Man City, it's called competition for places. So Ben White is what I was trying to explain to someone yesterday. Ben White is not your backup, or Saliba is not your backup. They're your competition.
Yeah.
So you're in. You know, I'd look at right back position, and I'd say Tomiyasu is the guy. Cedric's backup, or you know, Ben White's backup. But my main guy is Tomiyasu.
I'm with you. When we were 2002, 2003, 2004, I thought when Arsenal were fantastic, we had Keown, Adams and Sol Campbell.
Yeah.
You wouldn't turn around and say Adams was the backup or Keown was or Sol Campbell. Probably Sol Campbell was the nailed on one. But we would never turn around and say, Keown's back up to them two or whatever. They got their games, and all three of them were fantastic.
Competition, and if you don't get your place in that team and you don't perform,
you're going to be out.
You're going to be out, and you could be out for a while.
Yeah.
Right. So it's competition, which I love to see. So at this moment in time, it would be Saliba and Gabriel. Left back. Competition there all of a sudden with Zinchenko coming in.
So who you going for?
If they're both fully fit,
who you going for?
I think I'll go Kieran Tierney if he's fully fit. But if he ain't, it's not a problem. Last season, it's a problem.
I think do you know what? Doing a disservice to Tierney really, because a fully fit Tierney is a bloody good player.
He's a beast.
Let's be honest, he's a very, very good player. Just unfortunately, he doesn't fall into that fit. But now I'm not going to be worried.
No.
If he's not fit,
no.
I'm not being horrible. You know
who's going to be worried? Kieran Tierney.
Yeah, he's going to have to perform, isn't he?
Because he's going to be like, I can't afford to get... Listen, it's not that he's got himself injured, but he's going to be like, I can't afford to be injured. And I can't afford to put in performances below par because Zinchenko will take my place.
Yeah, so that...
And again, I lose my place. So again, that bodes well. Right, moving to midfield. Thomas Partey. Right? All right, there's not really any substantial backup to him, but he starts.
Yeah.
I'd say probably Granit Xhaka.
Yeah.
He starts, right? And then in front of them two, Martin Odegaard starts. So you've got your midfield there, and that's a good midfield.
It is a good midfield, and it was proved against Chelsea. I thought it was superb against
Chelsea. That's a very good midfield, right? Midfield. And then you've got Saka, you've got Martinelli, right? And then you've got Jesus. Behind Jesus, you've got Nketiah, who's looked very, very sharp in pre-season. I would still like to see another striker of a different ilk, but we've got him. Behind Saka at the moment, all right, I know he's back up, but you got Pepe, but he's back up, but he's not useless, is he? He's not. No. Like you're not like you're not playing a player that's we know he's got qualities. And on the other side, you know what I mean, you got Emile Smith-Rowe, who's competition to Martinelli and also to Odegaard.
Yeah. So Vieira is also.
And then there's now Fabio Vieira, who we haven't been able to see yet.
Don't really know where he's going to fit into this.
Yeah, I think he's kind of like
playing.
He can play right across that front three, and he can play the Odegaard role as well.
Yeah, so
right, because he's supposed to be a very, very creative player.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you're looking at it and saying, if everybody's fit, and that's been a big problem with Arsenal. If everybody's fit, what a good first team. And actually, in some areas of that team...
Yeah, 16 players, I think we got.
The backup.
Is really good.
Or I wouldn't even call it... I don't like to call it the backup when it's the competition for places.
Is good.
Yeah? That's why I feel we do need that midfielder.
Yeah, because you look at it now, everything you said there, there's just competition. Even if you go into the right back now, you've got Cedric and Ben White that can play there with Tommy S. I'm not that... People say that, I just want to go back to that Ben White thing. People even when we was going to go, Sterling's going to skin him, he never did. You know what I mean? Let's give credit where credit's due. He had a good game at right back, and I think he can do a job there. Same with the left back central thing. All over the park, apart from one area. And that is if Xhaka, God forbid, if anything happens to Xhaka and Partey at the same time, which it did last season.
Yeah.
Look how it went there. We've got El Neni who comes in. He's a different sort of player, though. But, different sort of player.
Yeah, but El Neni, Lokonga can come in. They're back up for me. But it's a drop.
It's a drop. You know what I mean?
If you're going into that first game of the season and Partey and Xhaka are out, you're worried because you're at midfield. You know what I mean? And it's a bit of a drop with El Neni. You know they can do a job for you, but...
I wouldn't be so bad if El Neni was in there. El Neni with Partey, El Neni with Xhaka. It's not too bad. But if anything happened to both of them, which did last season, the drop-off was incredible. And if Arsenal were going to do anything this season, they've got to address that.
Yeah.
If they address that, that's one thing I've learned. If they don't address it, this window to me will be... not a good window. It'd be a good window for other things, but you've got... Please just address that.
Yeah, and then on top of that, we know with Xhaka, the red card situation.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
he'll have a couple of those this season, so at least, based off of other seasons. So that's where a Tielemans or somebody like that, but sort out... But in a lot of the other areas of the pitch, and if that first team is fully fit going into that first game, I'm telling you, I'm feeling a lot better about going. It's never easy going to Palace, but I'll be feeling a lot better going into that game with that first team because I think that's an 11 that could go and get a result at Palace.
Yeah, could get a result at a lot of grounds.
Yeah.
If I'll be honest, you know what I mean? And that's never been the issue. But I will say this: a lot of fans at this moment have seemed to brush us, under the old Mikel carpet. I'll say that those two results at the back end of last season, the Tottenham and the Newcastle, I haven't forgot them. We need to improve, so there's all this great work we're doing at the moment. It will still come down to what happens at Palace. It will be that big game. But what I'm seeing is encouraging at the moment, and I don't feel at this moment in time, when people go, we're desperate. Well, I think we've done some good business at the moment. I don't think...
Well, we spent the most money.
Yeah, but we ain't got that midfield position at the moment. I don't think it's, where you go, we've got to get the players in before the season starts. We know it's not going to happen. But I think if we went into the game with, if nothing happens to Xhaka and Partey, them two playing in the first couple of games, I don't think we're all right. But we need to get it sorted for going in because I just feel that it's not where you go, we're desperate at this moment in time, but we still need to do it. And I think that that's why they've not gone through. They've gone into it. Maybe the money's a little bit too much. We're not desperate. And but I do think I would be very, very disappointed if we don't bring no one in.
Yeah.
In that midfield role.
First starting 11, 16, as you said, good. But the other thing we learnt, I think, when we was over there, is that when we saw it in the first half against, was it Nuremberg?
Yes.
Right? Where we sort of played a lot of the backup players. We were losing
2-0. We was 2-0 down. Come back 1-4-2. That shows you. Yeah.
We saw it in the first half against Orlando, where we played the sort of second string team in the first half. It was 1-1, right? Was it 2-1?
No, it was Baltimore won first. When we played the first team in the first half was 2-0, and then the second half it was a bit
a bit iffy. Yeah,
they changed it around Orlando, didn't they?
Yeah, when it changed it around Orlando. Started with the weaker sort of backup team.
Yeah,
right. It was I think it was 1-1 or 2-1 at half. I think it's 2-1 at half time, but we didn't perform well.
It wasn't good, was it?
No. In the first half, second half, when we changed it and brought in like the sort of first teamers, blew them away. And we saw it in the Chelsea game. First half, the main guys blew them away. Second half, as a matter of fact, he didn't change it a lot in that Chelsea game.
I think Savara's come on, didn't he?
Yeah. And then we saw it in the pre-season friendly that took place this week at the Emirates against Brentford. Again, there was there was no Jesus or any of those guys, only really Nketiah in that team, and he scored. What we're seeing is that there's a lot of dead wood at Arsenal
not good
that need to leave. Mikel Arteta and Edu have spoken about clearing out some of these players. There's a lot of players there that need to be moved on. You can go through it. There's Ainsley Maitland-Niles has been at Arsenal for a very long time.
Like him, but times ago.
Yeah, he's just drifting around. I think best for both parties.
Yeah.
Let him go and play somewhere where he's trusted and
there's a good player there.
There's a good player in there. Hector Bellerin, same thing. Had a great loan last year at Betis, won a trophy, wants to go back there, desperate to go back there. Yeah. There's even talk of Arsenal maybe even cancelling his contract so he can go back there, but he definitely needs to move on. There's Leno who's on the way out. There's so many. There's a whole long list of players.
I think Mari's another one that maybe...
Mari looks awful.
It's just what's going to happen with Rob Holding as well. What's going to happen with him?
Yeah, I think they'll keep Rob Holding. But Mari's linked with a move to Fenerbahce. I think he's going to go. He didn't really look interested in that game against Orlando when I saw him playing there. Rob Holding looked a little shaky, but I think they'll keep Rob Holding. And there's just a selection of players there that you're just looking at and saying...
Reece Nelson.
Reece Nelson's another one.
What do you reckon on that one? That's a tough one, isn't it?
It's a tough one because he's a young player. He's talented. But what are we going to do? You either keep him, give him a new contract and say, right, you're playing. You're going to be you're going to be the guy. Maybe...
Well, why did they bring in it Marquinhos? If that's the case, you know what I mean?
think Marquinhos could go on loan, to be honest. But I feel that Reece Nelson... You either keep him and you say, or he has to go as well. You've got to go. Again, he had a season away at Feyenoord. He did really, really well. Maybe he needs to go somewhere and play as well. But you can see that there's a massive drop between what we just described with them first teamers to the backup.
Yeah, it's massive drop. You know what I mean? And I think there's, we've mentioned 4 or 5 players there that I think need to go.
Pepe in that as well, maybe? Because again, I know he tweeted out or he put on his Instagram that he's had a good pre-season and he's ready to fight for Arsenal and stuff like that.
I'd love to see.
He's changed his agent and things like that.
I'd love to see him prove everybody wrong at Arsenal.
But has he had long enough to prove himself?
Well, I just think that listen, I think Arsenal fans like him and that. It's just unfortunately for him, and I mean this, and he's not Mikel's man. He didn't sign him.
Has he done enough though?
I think at times he has. That's what I'm
saying.
I'll go back to when we won the FA Cup. I thought he was trivial in us getting that. And what was his reward was, we signed William to replace him. It just hasn't worked.
So you think he's never had a chance?
I don't think he's had a. Listen, we've all played football and. The manager just doesn't fancy him for whatever reason. It's not his man, you know what I mean? Like we've all been there. when a manager comes in and, you know, the manager before loves you and all of a sudden you're not... It's not nothing against Mikel when I say this or whatever. He just doesn't fancy him as a player for whatever reason. I look at him at times. I've watched him on the line when he's not tracked back, you know, he's having a go at him and all that. Look, he come on last season against Wolves, changed the game. Didn't really play a lot after that. And then, you know, the game against Aston Villa, he come on, he was awful. You know, I look at it and I think, look, a situation is that you spent £50 million on Ben White, right? Oh, I'll put him over at right back and see if he can do all right out there because I've spent... It's my money. It was his money. Like he's never done that with Pepe. He's never actually said to him, "I tell you what, we're struggling for a few goals in the middle. Let's play him in the middle and see if it works." Now people will go, "Oh, well, he's not a centre forward. He's not." He's Ben White right back, but you're putting him there because you're trying to make it work because he's your man. You know what I mean? He didn't spend the money on him, and I just think if I was Pepe, if I could get away, I would.
What would you like to do with him though?
Well, I think that, you know, I'd say to him, look, you know, like Saka's... See, this is the thing. You can actually play Saka... If you really wanted to be, you could play Saka out on the left, him on the right. You know what I mean? Like, and leave Martinelli out or whatever, but he's not choosing to do that, like, you know. I think he'll get more games this season if he stays because you've got European football. Listen... If you was Pepe and that, like, you know, you're sitting there thinking, right, this is my chance, and I pick up the papers, and we've gone in for Rafinha. You know what I mean? It tells you everything. It tells you everything.
Well, would you keep him though?
Listen, do you want? If I was a manager, if I was Edu and all that, I'll be there on Friday night, having a little word with Patrick and the powers that be, and saying, look, we'll give you a little swap deal with Pepe with Zaha. And a bit of cash. That's what I would do.
So you wouldn't keep him?
No.
Okay. So on top of that, there's a lot of players in that team that are dead wood, really.
Yeah. I don't like using that.
I don't like using that phrase, but they are, aren't they?
But there is, you know what I mean? Like, listen, Bellerin's done well for us over the years. I don't think it's been quite the same since that knee injury and that, if I'll be honest. And going to be really honest about Bellerin. When he first came in, I don't really think that he fulfilled his potential. I think he's a good right back, but I honestly thought he was going to go to the very, very top.
Yeah.
Maybe injuries have restricted him a little bit, like, you know, but ultimately, when you see Tomiyasu this season, when he was fit, when he first came in, I thought, well, that's a proper right back.
Yeah.
You know, so and perhaps Bellerin's looked at that. He ain't going to get in that position there. So I would look at it and probably think that it'd be a good thing for him to go. And I like what Edu said about him the other day. Like, not just him, like, you know, if we can't get rid of these players, we're going to let them go. And at the end of the day, we didn't spend no money on Bellerin. And I wish him well and good luck to him. I think that they should have probably done that a week ago, 2 weeks ago, terminated his contract, if that's the case, and get him back to Spain.
I wanted to look through... Oh, they haven't got the actual squad list, though. I was going to look through the squad list and just go through some of it. The Arsenal website don't have the squad list at the moment. Maybe that's because of the new players that are coming in.
By the way, just talking about that, Leno, I'm not happy, by the way.
That Leno's going?
Well, I can understand why, but... You know, he hardly, you know, last season, you know, no European football and whatever. 8 million to Fulham, I'm not happy with that. I'd rather keep him for the last season.
I think, and I was saying that he hasn't got the actual squad up on the thing, but I was saying to the guys, right, I actually think in the case of Leno, it's like a goodwill thing.
Yeah, I get that.
They're saying, you know, we should really be charging like 15, 20 for you.
Well, what happens if something happens to Ramsdale? I'm not too sure about this Turner. You say it comes in and has to play every... Listen, it's a big drop, I think. And people are saying, like, oh, this Turner's going to be... He's a good goal creator. I'm not saying he's not. At this moment in time, he's got... you know, it's a big step from MLS to where he's going. And if anything happens to Ramsdale, last season you knew Leno was going to come in and no problem. I'm not worried about that, like, you know what I mean? If I'll be honest. And for £8 million, I would say to Leno, look, you know, go where you want next year for nothing.
And the thing is, what did we pay for Matt Turner? About 8 million.
Yeah, I'll just say, like, you know, you've got Europa League games to play. You could give him a few games and all that. Like, I'm not too convinced. Like,
I would have loved to keep Leno, because he's another one that when I look at him, I'm like, you're not backup, you're competition.
Yeah, competition. Yeah, it's all right having these competition for centre halves and all that, and then the goalkeeper, it's not.
Yeah, whereas Matt Turner, at the moment, from what I've seen so far, and it is a bit unfair of us.
Yeah, it is unfair.
He's only played a few friendlies, but for what I see Matt Turner at the moment as backup, right? But like you said, what if, you know, there was an injury to Ramsdale and Matt Turner had to come in from now for the next 6 months?
Well,
you know, so
goodbye whatever you want away, because it's a worry.
Yeah. So, although big up to Matt Turner, because he goes, I'm not coming in as coming in to compete for that first.
Well,
so his attitude is right.
And I will leave. I'm not going to make no judgments on him until I've seen him in the Europa League. But at this moment in time, you know, I'm just talking about, I would like Leno to be there.
Yeah.
Nice big safety net.
But we've seen, you know, and then there's Lucas Torreira. There was even players that weren't even there.
Oh, I forgot about him.
Yeah.
He didn't go on the tour, did he?
No, he didn't go on. Well, he went and then he had to leave early and come back. He had some family issues. He's back. I saw a picture of him over in Italy. Definitely looks like he's on his way out to Italy.
He doesn't want to be here, does he?
Don't want to be here. No. Don't want to be here. So there's a lot of dead wood that needs to go before the end of the transfer window. And I think we saw that over in America and so far in pre-season. None of those players that we're mentioning
are going to make an impact.
Have made us think to ourselves, no, apart from Leno, who didn't really play, but it's just based off of what we know about him. But nobody else really sort of said, where we like, no, it'd be ridiculous to sell Pepe, or listen, there's no way we should be sending Pablo Mari, or none of them pulled up any.
No, none of them did. Like, so, you know, Lukonga done okay and all that. Yeah. But I think that, you know, it was a great point Laurie made earlier on. We was talking before you come in, like, what do we do about Lukonga and what do we do about Tavares? They're two players that...
Tavares is another one, yeah.
You know...
Well, Tavares will go out on loan.
Well, you know, I think they need to be coached and playing in the Europa League, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And you know...
So you keep Tavares?
I would keep Tavares for those Europa League.
Where's he going to play, Lee, now that Zinchenko's coming?
Well, he can play like...
left wing?
Left wing of it, or that, you know, Zinchenko can play... I think it'd be Tierney to be playing in those games. Yeah, playing in midfield or whatever. Like, I just think that when we go into those Europa League games, I want to see a completely different team to what I'm seeing now, because we should still get through the group stages. With one team concentrating, like, you know. So I do think that, and I think that there is a thing where, hold on a minute, instead of chucking these guys out on loan, this coach them, this make them better players.
Yeah, but sometimes when a player goes out on loan, what the loan move does is you're playing regular game
football.
Time.
I get that.
Week in, Nuno Tavares, you're playing week in, week out. You can start to, you know, make some of those mistakes that you've made, but be a little bit under the radar because you're not at a bigger club as Arsenal, and then develop your game and then come back stronger. That's the whole point of a loan.
What I'd like to see, if that's the case, and I don't want to see him going abroad, if Brighton do sell their left back to Cucurella, they sell him to Man City, I'd like to see him go on loan at Brighton, playing in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Week in, week out. See how he goes from there. That was what and the same with Lukonga. If you're going to loan him out, get him to a team like Southampton or someone like that, closer home. You know what I mean? A little bit, and proper Premier League games. You know, like what Chelsea have done with Conor Gallagher.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, they've put him out on loan at Crystal Palace, and now, right, you're ready for the first team at Arsenal. Don't want to be seeing them all going. You know, even Reece Nelson, if they're going to get him there, get him to a Premier League club and see what he can do. These are crucial moves for these guys. You know what I mean? So I don't really. If you're going to be coming into Arsenal's first team in the next year or so, and the squad, particularly, hopefully, we're in the Champions League next season, whatever. These have got to be playing Premier League football now, and that's what I like to say. I don't want to see them going out to Italy or wherever, and then we're forgetting about them. Like, you know, let's see them what they're doing week in, week out in the Premier League.
Great shout. So that's 5 things we learned. Number 1, Gabriel Jesus.
4, that's 4.
Oh, that's 4. Yeah. The 5th thing we learned. The 5th thing we learned is amazing fans out there.
The international fans, we've got a big up to them.
Yeah, those fans over there in America were absolutely incredible. The game against Chelsea was a record attendance. The fans were just behind the team 100%. The fans out there, I've been lucky enough to have gone to America quite a few times now and witnessed the fans over there, and they really do operate like a Gooner family. It was your first time.
My first time. It's just, I've got to say, for a fan that's followed Arsenal for so many, to see that out there and the way that they are, it just makes you so much prouder to be an Arsenal fan. I can't say that and there's always been a little bit of stick that we're doing it for the times of kick-off sometimes and all that. It changed my attitude completely. What they're like, what they go through. The passion of these fans. You know what I mean? Like all those thousands of miles away they are. But what they do is they put all these little groups in there, like the Orlando Gooners, the LA Gooners, the New York
Fort Lauderdale.
They all travel,
Dallas.
as in group individuals, and go to these events, and it is a friendly to us, but for them it's an event, wasn't it? Like to do the tail parking thing and all that, like something that you've never seen, I've never seen before. Giving you people cooking burgers and things like that. Do you want one? Do you know what I mean? Beers. It's not like the old hot dog stall over here wouldn't get a look in, would it? Wouldn't get no trade. You know what I mean? They just say have a drink and they're just so thing like that. The fan part was an amazing thing to see. You know what I mean? And then their passion and knowledge for the game was incredible.
The knowledge. I think that's one of the underestimated things.
Yes,
it's the knowledge. They know Arsenal inside out, right? They, you speak to the fans out there. They're all coming up with, transfer signings, and they're all
putting a case out for it as well.
And they're making a case for this player and making a case to get rid of that player, and they are so passionate out there. And you're right, Lee. I mean, a lot of times over here in the UK, we've in the past. I don't think it happens as much now. I really do think that's starting to become a thing of the past. But it's sort of been like, them fans over there, foreign fans. Well, let me tell you something. They are as passionate as us. Yeah. There's only one key difference between us and them. And that is we're lucky enough to live nearer to the ground. That's the only difference. I'm telling you. That is the only difference.
And there's one word I won't be using no more. When I come to the Emirates, is like, the tourists fans. I think it's disrespectful after what I've seen. You know what I mean? There's too many tourists in the thing. Yeah. These fans come over, spending lots of money to follow the Arsenal, and watch the Arsenal. How many people did you see? What's it like, the Emirates? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't wait to get over there.
I've, he was chatting to Steve, and Steve was recounting to me an experience of what he said. He came to watch a game at the Emirates, and he said he was like chanting and singing songs and that, and somebody told him to shut up. They're trying to watch the game, it's really, I feel, our responsibility as the fans over here, when fans come from abroad, to really make them feel welcome, because they want to sing the songs.
Yeah, they want to be.
This is what they've come. They've come
to
for
experience that.
They've come to experience and witness the atmosphere. And they'll come to the ground. If everybody sat down and not singing, they're thinking, well, I don't want to make myself look an idiot here, so I better sit down and not sing as well.
Yeah.
But trust me, they consumed in every last inch of the club, and I thought it was. I thought they were brilliant out there. They were fantastic.
Unbelievable. And one of the things that also you don't realise, because you're a little bit blinkered to it over here, so you get over there and you start meeting the fans. There's a lot of American fans, and there is probably in Australia and whatever, that are expats that have gone over there, when, you know, their parents have moved over there. I was speaking to a couple of guys whose parents, when he was 17, he had to move out there because of his parents and all that, and have stayed out there. So they've been Arsenal fans for a very, very long while, and they're over there, like, you know what I mean? So even though
those guys have been responsible for spreading the word of Arsenal.
Yeah, exactly. And you go to these bars, and like, you know, I was blown away by the actual experience of all that. Like, and I think if the one thing that I've come away from, you know, another thing that we can say that we've learned from it is, one, I've learned, you know, that we've got to engage and embrace the fans from abroad, and the second thing which I've learned is how bloody big Arsenal Football Club
this club is absolutely huge, you know what I mean? I know Tottenham, you know, Expressions was telling me the other day, and I saw his trip to South Korea. It's brilliant. Yeah, you're big in South Korea, but Arsenal are big all around the world, right? We are, honestly, if you go to Australia, which is where we're rumoured to go next year, huge Arsenal. Europe.
Yeah.
I mean, anywhere you go with this football club, we was in Nigeria, you know what I mean? You're driving down the street and there's a kid in a little torn up Arsenal shirt. I mean, this club is absolutely massive, and that's why we want success. This club's too big to be not winning things.
Yeah, and hopefully the powers that be have seen that, because you know, like,
well, they're there.
Which was that was a great thing that they was there. They were there. They can see it for both games. Yeah, they were there, watching it. Watching how many Arsenal fans just from America were there following the team, like, you know what I mean? The Orlando game, we had the whole behind the goal was all red and white.
Yeah,
and one thing about Orlando, which I've learned about, a lot of expats have gone out there that living in Florida have sort of said, like, well, we need to find an American team, we'll follow them. But they were also Arsenal fans as well, and they was a little bit mixed about the game, weren't they? Because they're thinking, like, they want Arsenal to win, but they like Orlando, they felt a little bit like conflicted. But when it come down to it, that whole end was red and white, and when we're not down the road in Birmingham or anything. This was in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah.
Packed out.
No,
Arsenal
it's
fans.
Amazing. And like you said, Lee, this is a huge club, and we're going to see it again this weekend, of course, over here.
Sold out, you know,
at the Emirates Cup. Sold out a friendly 60,000 people to watch Arsenal play Sevilla. Like you said, with the Emirates Cup, the beauty of it, that's a real family day. I'm bringing my kids to the game, so I'm looking forward to that. And again, we're all looking forward to seeing Jesus, Saliba. I do think it will be a strong team against Sevilla. Sevilla always a good team.
I like the Emirates Cup, but people that go, I don't. I'll tell you what, that's another thing I've enjoyed. You enjoy these games, even though they're friendlies, because there's not the pressure. It's not the pressure. You know what I mean? Next Friday it'll be like pressure. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But you can go to the Emirates Cup. And it is a family thing, and the pressure's is off a little bit. You can enjoy the game. You can enjoy a game of football, can't you? And I actually enjoy watching Arsenal. I don't really enjoy watching Arsenal when it's in league, because there is that pressure. But when these games are, you just sit there and relax and enjoy a game of football. I really enjoy this, and you know, and it's sold out. And it's not the only thing that's sold out. The whole away kit's sold out and all that.
Well, you should have got it last week.
Oh, no, I should have, like.
What about the pink one? That's out.
Julian will like that, but I'm not.
I like it, you know.
Yeah, I was kind of. Are you going to get it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm going to get it. I know I'm a big guy wearing pink, you know what I mean? I'll make me look even bigger. But yeah, I think I'm going to get it, man. I still can't work out how these fans in America really got it.
Yeah, we see a few of them. We did, didn't we?
But I saw, like, there's one guy standing in the queue with me when we was going to the game.
Yeah, I see a few of them out there.
Mate, I go, where'd you get that? And he goes, oh, yeah, they've got it in the shops now. And he goes, where I live. I think it's Texas or something. And I looked at it, I was like, it's nice. I like it.
Oh, I liked it.
I like it. All three kits this year are good. Arsenal, if we can do in the league with our team what we've done with the kits, we're going to have a great season. I love the black kit.
I've got to say, listen, I am, this always been right, it's got to be yellow and blue because we've been brought up on it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and I did, like last season's Arsenal shirt
was nice.
It was the best one. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And it beats the black one for me because it's yellow and blue. Like, you know what I mean? But this kit here, this black one, has got to be the best.
Yeah.
Since the green and blue one back in the 80s.
Green and blue. I remember. I was surprised they ain't redone that one as well.
No, they've got to do that at some stage. You know what I mean?
More of a Nike kit though. That was.
I think it was Umbra. I think it was Umbra.
Oh yeah. Actually, you're right. It was Umbra.
The old JVC and all that. Like, right. So, but that was a great.
Yeah.
But that caused a stir back in the day.
Yeah.
Or so my dad says because I can't remember it. Like, you know. But this black kit. When you see, you know, everybody, I've like seen you with it on it and all that, like, and I've seen everybody on it. It is such a,
it's slick. It's slick, and I've seen so many people just wearing it out, and they said it's the best-selling kit. So, like, it's made the most sales in one day. Of
you can wear it with anything, can't you?
Yeah, of any kit, any. And that again shows you that how big a club Arse is. I'm talking about any kit in the Premier League. So, you know. This is a big club, man.
Well, I went there when we was filming Tuesday. Sold out. I'm going to have another. They said it might be in.
They're going to have a little look down there today.
I'm going to go and have a little look in there again today, like, you know.
Sold out.
Sold out. So I mean, I might wear it.
What you have a mate down there who used to be able to get you there?
Yeah, but like, you know, I mean, it's just that. It's just the link's gone at the moment, like, you know. No, it ain't. It's just they're just
they're
absolutely selling it. The boxes are coming in and the boxes are going out. Like,
I want to get one for my kids as well. So,
you know,
listen,
they must. I'm just thinking about it. Like, I bet they're holding them back.
Oh, for the weekend?
For the week, you sly old dog. I bet that's what they're doing. They're holding them back. But then
even you're not seeing. There's been a lot of teams, right, that haven't even got their first kit for this season because of supply issues. Wow. You know what I mean? Containers not coming out from China and things like that.
I sat there one year at the Emirates Cup, a few years back, and even asked when signed anybody, right? And I was doing me nut, like going, look at all these shirts they're selling, and they haven't even bought no one yet, like, you know what I mean? Now they've bought a few players and it's lit. You know, they'd be doing some business if they're about this
they're going to smash it this week with shirts, but looking forward to that. As we come to the end of the show, I just need to remind you guys about the big poker tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
14th of August, come on.
Yeah, remember to sign up to our Invincible poker tournament on 888 Poker by clicking the link in the description and add the username Robbie AFTV or Lee AFTV. Use the promo code WELCOME40, and what will happen then is if you deposit £10, you'll get £40, right? And we're looking forward to seeing you there. Got some business to take care of with him. Smash him up and things. Beat him again.
Beat me again. You couldn't beat an egg. Don't worry about that. Like, you know what I mean?
Beat him again. I'll tell you what. I'll bet you a Kit Kat. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe here to AFTV, and I'll see you next week. The Invincible podcast. Myself, Robbie, and Lee Judges come together once a week to discuss all things Arsenal. Straight talking, considered discussion, brought to you by the fans of the only club in Football League history to go invincible.